On the field, off the field, sports talk, entertainment, and more. This is Sauce on the Side.
Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to episode 64 of Sauce on the Side podcast. I'm your host, Drake, joined by the man, the producer, Leighton Pip Shaventone.
Here's a list of every Red Sox pitcher that I trust.
And joining us today, our guest host, B-Reich, the hot take detective, Brandon Riker.
The city of Cleveland has been really busy this offseason ridding themselves of LeBron. They took down his building-sized poster, signed a new forward to take his place, Sam Decker, have remodeled his old locker into a towel shelf. The transformation is complete.
So they basically just replaced the LeBron with like a jersey shelf and Sam Decker and a towel shelf for his locker.
Yes, and if that isn't petty, by the way, with that towel shelf, I don't know what is.
I absolutely love it. If he was a St. Louis Cardinal, they would have just went ahead and left everything that he left in there and just put a pane of glass over it and just kept it there forever. But guys, be sure to listen to the show on Spotify, iTunes. Be sure to download, subscribe, rate, give us that 5-star review. Be sure to check out the FSGN.com where you can find our podcast and other podcasts as well. Be sure to follow on Twitter and Instagram at The Saucy Pod. Boys, we have a very, very good show. We are going to break down all of Week 5 football. We are going to break down the Week 6 in NCAA football. And we have some darts, talk a little bit about the MLB playoffs, and have our saucy six-pack. We do not have an interview this week, but all signs are finally pointing back to where we can start getting interviews again. So, guys, stay tuned. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this week of football. Week 5. Week 5 is in the books, and we still have 2 unbeaten teams. The Rams and Chiefs are both 5-0. Funny enough, they're in separate conference. Guys, can we go ahead and crown these teams and say they're going to be in the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't think we can say that just yet. It's only been 5 weeks. But these 2 teams are definitely the best teams in their own conferences. I think the gap for the Chiefs and next best teams is larger than the Rams. But really, the Rams' only weakness are injuries right now. They lost Marcus Peters and Keith Talib. They lost Brandon Cook and Cooper Kupp yesterday to concussions. They'll make a lot of concussions, but normally after a week or 2. But the Chiefs, all I have about them is that they're getting up 500 yards in a game twice this season. And that's no recipe to keep winning. If you shut down that offense, you can win a game against them because the defense is so bad. But, I mean, they're winning shootouts.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I'll start with the Chiefs. I do not think – I'm not going to come off my Chargers pick just yet, but the Chiefs definitely have been the best team up to this point in the AFC. And honestly, last week they came over some adversity, which I was waiting for that to happen. Patrick Mahomes looked like a normal, quarterback. He didn't look like a superhuman, and they still figured out a way to win. The defense came up when it needed to against the Jaguars, and so that was really good to see. But I definitely think the Rams are the best in the NFC, and I think they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rams, they're only really going to have one team that they'll have to compete against, and that's the Vikings, which they beat them. It was on a Thursday night game, but I mean, you take that with a grain of salt with Thursday night football. But with the Chiefs, so I was really, I was confused on how the Chiefs were able to beat the Jaguars by, 16 points. So I rewatched the game. I went back today, and I actually spent this morning watching it. So here's how things started off for the Jaguars. They drive down the field. Blake Bortles was the worst Blake Bortles ever. This was more picks than Blake. He threw more picks than even Blake Bortles has thrown in a game in his career. So he set himself a new PR. Went down the field, took a sack to take him out of field goal range to end the drive. Next one was turnover on downs from the 7-yard line. Then they get back into Kansas City territory. Bortles fumbles again. Then a pick six to a D lineman. And then he threw another pick inside the 5-yard line off of a lineman's helmet, and then the first true punt that this team had where they were never in field goal range came after 6.5 minutes, went off the clock in the third quarter. And then he had a pick in Kansas City territory, and then he had a ball that was picked on the 3-yard line again. So not a great start for this team. But the fact that Blake Bortles had to play that bad, it wasn't a true measuring stick for the Chiefs. I think they are very good. I think they're extremely talented, but this last week was an extreme outlier. This team won't force 4 turnovers again for the remainder of the season. I think this week will be the true test for the Chiefs. I don't think that they have to necessarily even go out there and beat the Patriots, but I think that if they can go out there and put up a respectable amount of points on the Patriots and hold Tom Brady, in the offense under 450 yards, I'll buy in. I will start to buy in if they play a close game with the Patriots.
Yeah, I was just happy to see that they could win a non-shootout game, which Bortles, like you said, like as good as he played against the Patriots a couple of weeks back, my God. Like, that ball that he threw off the guy's helmet in front of him, like, I don't even know where he was throwing that, to be honest with you.
There was nobody back there.
I have no idea.
That was an all-time Bortles play.
He might have been trying to throw it away. Throw that back in the end zone. A little bit too long.
Dude, you know what he reminds me of? Is, you remember Mark Sanchez, like how he would have like a pretty good game, and it's always just like, all right, this team could go to the Super Bowl if Mark Sanchez just doesn't take them out of the game. Well, Blake Bortles went out there and completely just pulled a butt fumble 2.0, bounced it off his dude's helmet. Just a terrible, terrible, terrible Blake Bortles game. But I was actually looking. Crazy stat here. Since Andy Reid has been with the Chiefs in 6 seasons, they've started 5-0 or better half of those seasons. Pretty wild.
That's pretty impressive.
One playoff win.
So
Andy Reid starts out hot.
They're so hot. Not meant for cold weather.
That's true.
When do you guys think that these unbeaten streaks are going to come to an end?
After week 11, because they play each other week 11.
That's good. I think the Chiefs have
That's very wishful thinking, because the Chiefs play Patriots on Sunday, and the Rams play the Saints in New Orleans, I think, in week 8 or 9. But hopefully they both get to week 11 undefeated, because I want to see it.
Well, it's looking like the Rams are like locked in for 14 wins with how terrible that division is. So I don't know when they're going to finish it out, but I think the Chiefs have a pretty good chance of losing next week.
Yeah, I think that the Chiefs will lose next week. I really think that the only chance that the Rams have to lose until they play Kansas City would be either that Saints game or the week prior, if Aaron Rodgers just goes out there and just puts the team on his back, and protects the football, does Aaron Rodgers type things, because Aaron Rodgers can win any game at any given time. It just depends on if the rest of the guys show up. But I am really, really, really rooting for that Week 11 matchup. Both teams undefeated, because that would just be awesome. So, guys, of the 12 playoff teams from last year, 5 of them so far are 500 or worse. We have the Steelers and Vikings at 2-2-1. We have the Eagles and Bills that are both 2-3, and the Falcons are a measly 1-4. Where do each of these teams kind of lie in relation to the panic button? Where would you put these guys, if they should either be on the panic button or not even worried about it at all?
You want me to run down all the teams, or are we just doing one at a time?
Let's just go ahead. We'll start off with we'll do the Bills. The Bills are just an odd one. We'll do the Bills.
So literally next to the Rams and the Chiefs, I think the Bills should be most proud of their record. They are awful. They're not panicking at all. They're having a party right now for 2-3.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the Bills didn't even buy a panic button, because they knew no matter what happened this season, they weren't going to panic.
Yeah, I agree. They should not even be messing with the panic button. These guys, they're playing great football for the talent level. 2 and 3.
Josh Allen's dual threat, apparently.
Have they,
other
than week 1, where these spreads were set, like back whenever A.J. McCarron was the starting quarterback of the team, I think they've been a double-digit dog every single week, and they found a way to win 2 of those games. So we'll go ahead. We'll hit the other 2 and 3 team. The defending Super Bowl champion, guys, the Eagles. Kind of a surprise at this point. Where should they be in relation to the panic button?
They're looking at the button right now. They're ready to press it because they flat out can't cover anybody. But the division sucks, so they'll be okay.
Their division does suck, but I think Carson in that big-ass knee brace of him is hobbling over to that panic button, ready to push it real hard.
Yeah, I have them kind of like the buttons like up on the table, and I have them like ready to box jump on it and then just start stomping on it if they lose to the Giants. They're not on the button yet, but if they lose Thursday to the Giants, which is a real possibility, I think the Giants are going to win that game because you have a very mad wide receiving core heading there. I really am going to go with it. They're looking at it, but they're not on it yet. So, guys, they were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Now they're 1-4. Quite a turnaround. The Falcons.
Oh, they are abusing this button. Like, they are beating the holy hell out of this thing. Like, this button's broken from being pushed so much.
Oh, yeah. You know, like on the loading screen where for some reason we all push X because we think, like on a video game, the loading screen is going to like go way faster? That's how much they're pushing that dang panic button right now.
Yeah,
just erratically.
They're on that panic button. Hitting the buttons actually faster than I used to do whenever I'd drop in on Grand Theft Auto for the cheat codes. That's how fast they're working that button. So we'll go ahead and go to the teams that are actually sitting right at 500, possibly the most odd 500 record you can have, 2-2-1 at this point. We'll go with the Steelers first.
They're looking at the button. They're ready to press it, but I don't know. They're not panicking, I don't think. They get later on like in 2 weeks. They win this week, they're above 500. They'll be okay.
Big Ben never panics. I mean, look at his legal sheet. He's gotten away with a lot. He never panics, boys.
He's cool under pressure. I kind of have him as the same boat as the Eagles. Like, if they lose this week and the Bengals go to 5-1, they have to be worried. And especially being tied with the Browns for the bottom feeder of the division, I don't think they're panicking yet. But if they get Le'Veon Bell back and they're 500 or better, they'll be okay. But if not, I think they're going to be in some trouble. So final one, Vikings. I know a lot of people were hitting the panic button on the defense, dropping them in fantasy. Bold move, because last week the Vikings looked very, very good. Where are you guys at with the Vikings?
Now look at the button. Back to they're out in the parking lot playing catch. They don't care. No panic.
Yeah, this strikes me as a team that's always been like, nah, we're cool, but in the back of their mind, they were ready to panic. They lost this last week, and they almost blew that game to the Eagles, and I think they would be panicking if they lost that game to the Eagles. But for the pure fact they did that, and I think they looked the best against the Rams, they're not panicking.
Yeah, I know whenever this team was getting just mollywopped by the Bills, I looked at Leighton, I said, I'm not even worried about this team. They're still going to beat the Bears for the division. I mean, the Vikings have too much talent to be a 500 team, so they're not even worried. So, guys, I talked about the Bengals. They could be 5-1 next week if they're able to pull off the win against the Steelers, but right now they're 4-1. Can we start to finally buy into this, or is this just another run-of-the-mill Marvin Lewis sneak into the playoffs, crush all the Bengals fans' hopes? Where are you at with this team?
Well, last week on Food for Thought, Fletcher did a fun test called the Say It Out Loud test. If you say it out loud to yourself, and you can believe it, then it's true. So say it out loud. Andy Dalton will get you to the Super Bowl. Dude, so that's something you're going to believe you say it out loud?
I still haven't believed it. I could repeat that forever, and I'm not believing it.
Say it out loud. Everybody right now listening, say it out loud. Andy Dalton will get the Bengals to the Super Bowl. No. Absolutely not.
The Bengals have been a surprise. I mean, they're playing a lot better than I expected them to. Most people did, but Marvin Lewis is 0-7 in the playoffs, and that's all I need to know about this team.
Yeah, I'm looking at a team that basically has 3 first-round talents at wide receiver, and then they have Andy Dalton feeding the ball around. They've actually given up more passing yards and given up more rushing yards than they're actually producing this season. And they're 4-1. So that's kind of a crazy stat. And it's not like they're and it's not like they're out there forcing turnovers. They've turned the ball over 8 times. They've forced 8 turnovers. So they're dead even in that. I feel like where other teams are maybe falling a yard short, having to take the field goal, they're scoring the touchdowns, and they're kind of getting lucky with the ways that they're winning. I think that this is going to be a team that's going to come to a hard crash and burn, and we'll know it whenever we see it, because I thought it was going to be this week whenever they're down 17-0, but I think Andy Dalton's going to come back to true form, and this team will be really, really bad whenever that hits. So we'll do a little NFL word association of the Week 5 recap. So first off, guys, Week 5 biggest winner.
The air conditioning in Ford Field.
I'm going to go with Gano and kickers everywhere, not named Mason Crosby.
Rookie quarterbacks. In fact, they were 4-0 this week. Biggest loser.
Mason Crosby.
John Gruden's play calling. Again, Marshawn Lynch didn't get it on the one.
I about died whenever I saw that. and in my mind, I kept thinking about the quote whenever John Gruden first got there, and he's talking about Marshawn. He's like, "Oh, believe me, if we have the ball on the one, Marshawn Lynch will have it."
Nope.
Coach, you lied. I'm going to actually go with, financially speaking, Mason Crosby. So, surprise.
Bills and Browns have just as many wins as Steelers and Vikings.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm doing Adam Thielen's dominant start.
Blake Bortles. He was actually bad this week for Blake Bortles standards. Set a new PR for interceptions in a game. Disappointment.
Matt Ryan and the Falcons offense.
Simply Falcons.
Titans. 5 weeks.
Oh.
They've scored over 20 points in regulation 0 times. They've gotten to 20, but they can't break 20. Biggest impact injury.
Tayshaun Gibson. He hurt his hamstring, might miss time. But I saw like an hour ago that J.J. is on the IR with the ACL tear. So that's probably the most impact injury.
I think so. It came out that it was only a sprain, but Matt Breida, because he's the only guy in the 49ers that is worth a damn.
I am actually going to go with the Rams wide receivers. Basically, everybody not named Robert Woods is concussed. So, WTF moment of Week 5.
Bills and Browns have 100% more wins than the Falcons.
The 49ers had 23 more first downs and 227 more total yards and still lost the game.
Holy smokes.
Yes.
What was that stat again?
23 more first downs than the Cardinals and 227 more yards. They had like 6 turnovers.
Wow.
But, yeah, awful.
That's wild. All right, guys, I'm going to read this stat off to you, and you tell me who the first guy is that cracks into your head. There's only one guy to ever do this. He's a quarterback. He threw over 55 times, completed over 50% of his passes, and had 0 touchdowns and less than 300 yards of passing. It's the only time in NFL history that this was ever done.
Joe Flacco.
Absolutely. Joe Flacco. Unbelievable. I looked at the stat. Only time it's ever happened in NFL history. Hats off to you, Joe. All right, Week 5 overreaction.
Jason Garrett did not make it past the bye week.
Will Fuller is done in Houston.
NFC East chance
Spots taken.
will be 500 or worse. I think that the NFC champ will be like an 8-8 team or like an 8-7-1 team, something, or well, that wouldn't 7-8-1 or something. It'll be 500 or worse. B-Rock, I actually liked what you said there. Will Fuller, that Kike Coutee dude is awesome.
Yeah. It's literally the reason I didn't start him this past week in fantasy was because when Will Fuller went down, that guy went off for 100 yards after the injury. So I was no. It's Hopkins and Coutee, whatever now, for now on.
But he didn't have the automatic touchdown thing with Watson. Until last night broke the streak.
It broke the streak. It's over. It's done. It's over.
That's crazy. No, I think Kike Coutee, if he is on your fantasy waiver wires, guys, go pick him up. I think he's going to be a stud. He's going to be like Will Fuller, but he's going to get like 10 targets. So wait, that's not bad.
So what, you think people should go out and get Coutee?
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea.
So all the little boys who are afraid that go give them cooties, don't be afraid of this cootie.
Don't be afraid of this, Cootie.
All right, well, there's some good advice for the little ones out there. You got any more thoughts for them?
Yes, I do, actually.
It was all a dream. I used to read Run Up magazine.
You know how I know that Texas is back? I don't see Maryland on the remaining schedule. Chiefs. This is the third time 5-0 or better start in the last 6 years with Andy Reid. His record after these hot starts, 7-13. I mean, if you look at Andy Reid and you think cardio, there's something wrong with you. He does all his damage early. No game this Sunday for the Chicago Bears, but I got an ESPN update that Khalil Mack actually strip-sacked the bye week. What do Aaron Hernandez, Michael Floyd, and Josh Gordon all have in common? They all caught a touchdown pass from Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers already matched his career high in fumbles in an NFL season. Packers fans still convinced he's healthy. Mason Crosby, if you're kicking field goals next Monday night versus San Francisco, wow. What's 3-33-1 and doesn't know how OT works? Hugh Jackson in a win as a Browns head coach. Jerry Jones said he would have went for it on 4th and 1 in overtime on Sunday night. Jerry, your nose is growing. I know that I know that you call the plays. Jason Garrett, Ahmed, Jerry Jones, Jeff Dunham. And there's a new book out this week. It's titled We May Never Lose Again. And it was written by Christian Yelich and the Milwaukee Brewers. So guys, I've been on the record saying this multiple times about Jerry Jones. What do you think about him coming out and saying that he would have went for it on 4th down and like kind of threw Jason Garrett under the bus like he's thrown him under the bus like 500 times prior to this?
Hindsight's 2020. Basically, before the season started, my guy to be fired first was Jason Garrett. And if they would have lost, not this past but 2 weeks ago, I thought he'd be fired today. But he hung on to the job for dear life, and I've never thought he was a very good coach. Basically just there because of doing Jerry Jones once.
Oh, he's a terrible coach. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, because seeing what they do at the offense now, B-Rock, what do you think about Jerry Jones, like, putting his foot in his mouth every week?
I mean, that's what Jerry Jones does, but to his defense, you have one of the highest paid lines in the NFL, and you have Zeke. So, figure it out.
Yeah, I saw a stat that on 4th and 1s or shorter, they convert, since they got Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott, they convert 95% of the time. Best in the NFL since then. So I kind of agree with him, but I, like Leighton said, hindsight's 2020, obviously.
Yes,
so
it is.
Good old Jerry. If you don't like what the man's doing at the job, just fire him and get it over with. So, guys, we'll do a little NCAA football talk. So 3 top 10 teams went down this week. We had Auburn, LSU, and Oklahoma all go down this week to Mississippi State, Florida, and Texas, respectively. Which game do you guys think had the most effect on the college football playoff?
I have to go with Oklahoma losing to Texas. Because Oklahoma, that team picked from the start of the season that looked like the favorite to go to the playoff. And they just lost to Texas, and Texas lost to Maryland. So basically, if you're in the Big 12, are you thinking West Virginia can pull this thing out and get a Big 12 team in there? Will Texas beat another big school in that? Will Oklahoma be another school in that? Oklahoma losing basically pushed the entire Big 12 in a flux. Mm-hmm. And basically, one of the Big 12 teams now has to win out, I think, for them to have a team in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that that win for Texas actually really hurt Oklahoma going forward. But I'm actually going to go with Auburn. I mean, they suffered their second loss, and they still have to play Bama. I definitely think this just puts Auburn out of it. I don't think a 3-win team's getting in this year, so I'm going to go with Auburn. It pretty much looks impossible to go to the championship game.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with Oklahoma losing, just because I think it almost wipes the whole entire chance of a Big 12 team making it out. I think that there's almost no chance unless West Virginia is able to run the table. Because if you look at it, Texas, they have to still play West Virginia, and West Virginia has to play both Oklahoma and Texas, who both have one loss. So if West Virginia does go undefeated, then they end up having to play probably Texas. If Texas doesn't, well, no, because if West Virginia goes undefeated, then they'll end up having to play Texas, because Texas still doesn't have a conference loss, and it just makes things real murky. And you could potentially have a 2-loss team win the Big 12 in Texas. So if Texas, ends up losing to West Virginia wins out, loses to Texas in the last week of the season, in the conference championship, then you have a 2-loss Texas team who lost to Maryland and West Virginia, and you don't have a prayer getting in. So I think this was the worst case scenario. I think that they needed West Virginia and Oklahoma to both be undefeated whenever they play. That way, at least if one of them was a 1-loss team that won the title, they could at least say, hey, this team avenged their loss. And I just don't think – I think right now the Big 12 has a better chance to not have a team in than have a team in the conference football or college football playoff.
Yeah, and go along with that, like, if Texas does win out, and let's say, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama don't lose until, the championship game of SEC, if Texas is the 4th team in over a team like Washington, who could go undefeated in the Pac-12, or they put into SEC teams with Georgia and Alabama.
Oh, 2 SEC teams. We know how that play goes.
I think so too, because I feel like Texas is not as good as they looked last week.
Absolutely not. I've watched him almost every week, and Sam Ehlinger had by far the best game of his life. Usually, it's almost impossible to overthrow the wide receivers that he has, and he does it every single play. So how they put up 48 points is beyond me. I think that Oklahoma yesterday couldn't have stopped us 3 on-go routes.
And I still think it's going to be a struggle for the Pac-12 to get somebody in. Washington's still got a pretty tough record, and they really don't like the Pac-12. I don't really think it's that tough. Yeah. Stanford's really screwed them up.
Yeah, and if Notre Dame never loses, you can't
get any of that.
If Notre Dame loses, then if Notre Dame doesn't lose, they gotta be in.
Oh yeah, I think we're in a really weird spot, and I think that this could possibly be the year that happens. We'll get to it later, but guys, don't look now, okay? Don't even look at the rankings. I'm going to tell you what's going on, but we have a P6 team that is ranked, okay? A Power 6 team that is ranked. For all of you that didn't listen a couple shows ago, the American Athletic Conference, guys, they refer to themselves as P6, the Power 6 Conference. They have a team ranked in the top 10 and 3 in the top 25. But anyways, guys, we'll look at the rankings and break them down a little bit. This is one of my favorite things to kind of look into, because whenever people mention stuff, you're like, well, how should they be ranked there? So I like kind of diving into it. Guys, who's the most underranked, overlooked team this year?
I don't know about overlooked, but Mississippi State, they're ranked 24th again this week, and they just housed Auburn, 24-9, and they didn't move at all. I think that's a team that should be ranked high right now. And Wisconsin, they haven't lost since the first game, and they're kind of stagnant. So I don't really know what people want them to do other than win games right now, but they're having a hard time up in the rankings, which we knew would happen after they lost that first game.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. And honestly, that's probably better than one that I wrote down. But I'm going to go with Florida only because they just had 2 really quality wins back-to-back. And I feel like they're getting a little bit penalized for losing to a Kentucky team whose only loss is against Texas A&M in overtime. Texas A&M is a pretty good team. So Florida is still behind LSU, and they have the same record, and they just beat them. So to me, that's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with another SEC school, Kentucky. Other than UCF, I think UCF should obviously be above Texas for one. But because, there's no way UCF is going to lose to Maryland. So I would have them at least above Texas, probably a little higher. But Kentucky, so they haven't lost a game in regulation all season. they lose to Texas A&M at A&M after they've already beat Florida and Mississippi State earlier this season, and now they're ranked below Florida. Whenever you had to move Texas up 10 spots to justify it and put them above Oklahoma. So I don't see how you're able to do that and act like the head-to-head wins actually matter whenever you throw Texas up there and say, yep, they beat Oklahoma, so they're better than them. They should be ranked higher, where you have Florida, who beat LSU, ranked below them, and then you have Kentucky, who beat Florida, ranked below them. So I don't get it. Kentucky definitely should be ranked, and the resume says they should be ranked higher than 18. It's kind of slapping the face of that team.
Well, I think the whole big thing with Kentucky is just it's sad to say, but I think it's just people didn't think they were this good, and then all of a sudden they had a couple big wins, and it's almost like they're getting penalized for it. Same thing with, I think Florida's getting penalized a little bit for losing to a Kentucky team, which, let's face it, is one of the best teams in the SEC. And up to this point, it's been better than Mississippi State. I mean, they're a really good ball club, and I feel like they're getting penalized. And for some reason, LSU and Texas are still higher. So,
yeah, no, I mean, you look at Kentucky; they even beat Mississippi State. So I don't see how you can penalize it. And I feel like both you and I, and even Layton's, it all goes back through Kentucky. It's because those teams lost to Kentucky, and they're penalizing Kentucky, so therefore your guys' teams are penalized as well. So I don't get that at all. Kentucky is a very, very good football team. I mean, you look at an A&M team, their only 2 losses is to Alabama, which they played very, very well, as good as you can play Alabama, and then they should have beat Clemson. So if the officials make the right call in the Clemson game, you're looking at this A&M team who's a top 10 team who just beat Kentucky in overtime. Outlook's all changed. It's crazy to me. So, guys, most overranked team. I kind of have a little lengthy answer on this one, so I'll let you guys take the floor first.
This one's for me really easy. I'm going to go with Texas. They're ranked number 9 in the country, the head of UCF. And basically, they beat Oklahoma. And Jake talked about a second ago, they had justified that by moving them up 10 spots. And Texas, they've been hot, quality wins in a row, but they're not a top 10 team in my eyes still.
Yeah, I figured you guys would go this route, but I'm actually going to go with Michigan. When Michigan played Notre Dame, and that was by far their only quality opponent, they did not have Ian Brooks starting quarterback. Notre Dame was not the same team, and it was more than a one-touchdown game. Michigan's other opponents have been Western Michigan, SMU, Nebraska, Northwestern, and Maryland. I mean, they haven't beat anybody worth a damn, and yet they're still ranked number 12, above Florida's, above the Kentuckys of the world. I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree, because if you want to look at that Notre Dame game, wipe it out the window. I mean, Brandon Wimbush was out there just stinking it up for Notre Dame, and that should have been a housing. That was way bigger than a 7-point game. Kind of a wire-to-wire, just runaway victory for Notre Dame if you weren't paying attention to the scoreboard. My overranked team is actually going to be Texas. I mean, so I have a lot of stuff that goes into this. So they are the only team out of the 11 one-loss teams that are ranked that lost to a team that has spent 0 weeks in the top 25. Michigan lost a one-score game to the number 5 team, which I take that with a grain of salt. And they just beat Maryland by 21 points. B-Reich thinks that Michigan team is the most overranked team in the country. They went out there and took care of business against Maryland, which Maryland beat Texas at home. So that shows you how bad Texas was week 1. And, they put some wins together. Yes, they did beat a very tough Tulsa team that's 1-4 this year by 7 points. They beat a very, very tough Kansas State team by 5 points. That team is 2-4. Very respectable records there. And then you look at teams that are outside of the top 10, like Florida. 2 top 25 wins. Lost to number 18. They lost, and LSU lost to the number 13 team. And 2 top 25 wins. So they have better wins. Like, you look at all of Texas's wins right now, 0 of those teams other than Oklahoma are in the top 25. So I don't see how you can look back and say, Oh man, yeah, they beat TCU. Well, TCU fell off a cliff. Like you look at the win against USC. USC is not as good as USC was. So I think the Texas thing is kind of ridiculous. I think they get up there because of the branding and the hot team. I guess like the hot team of the moment. They beat Oklahoma by 3. Lost a 21-point lead, but kind of crazy. I mean, we're one field goal away from this team falling out of the top 25.
We are, but I mean, let's get honest. They did beat Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl, and that does hold a lot of weight. And whether it's right or wrong, it does hold a lot of weight when it comes time to, make the rankings. Because they're looking at big games, they're looking at big moments. But yes, you're right. They definitely should not be above some of the other teams that also have one loss.
My favorite thing, too, is that that's not a home game for Texas. Like, if you look at it, it's not a home game for Texas. And everybody there is from Texas. Like, the game is in Texas, but it's not a home game. So it blows me away. But I think Texas is, like, way overranked. I think we're going to find that out over the next couple weeks. I think they'll end the season with 2 or 3 more losses. But I don't know. We'll find out. Let's stick to this week, though. We have like a really underrated slate of games. So last week, whenever I was watching games, they really didn't talk about like what matchups we had for this week. But we actually have 3 huge games that will affect the outcome of their given conferences. So all 3 of these games are conference matchups. First up, guys, we have number 2 Georgia heading to Death Valley to play number 13 LSU. Such a bummer. It is such a bummer that LSU lost last week because this would just be like the matchup of all matchups. LSU is actually a 7-point dog, but guys, where are we going?
I'm going with Georgia. I'm so Edwards wrong with shotgun several monsters. How his team shotgun several monsters for this game, but Georgia would be too much to handle still.
Yeah, this one was actually really tough for me. I have a lot of respect for LSU. I think LSU is a really good program, and they're definitely more battle tested than Georgia. Georgia has 0 games against ranked opponents right now this season, but I do think that Georgia is a better team, so I'm going to go with my gut and go with Georgia. But I'm really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with LSU. I said that LSU would lose one early. I thought it was going to be Miami, but it ended up being Florida. But I think that they're going to kick it into gear now. I mean, you can't look at me and tell me that Coach O isn't going to have the boys fired up after that
they'll
loss.
Be ready.
They'll be pumped up.
They will be ready. I mean, if you can win a game just off of pure, just like excitement and readiness, this team will do it. Like Coach O will be out there fighting the offensive, defensive linemen this week, getting them kind of pumped up for this. I just hope he doesn't hurt anybody because, like Brandon said, this team's battle tested. Like they've been through it. Joe Burrow, he's been on the great end of a late rally, and he's been on the bad end of a late rally. And I think that he kind of knows what he has to do to overcome the obstacles and finally take that next step as a quarterback. So I'm going with LSU. Little Pac-12 action here. Number 7 Washington going to number 17 Oregon. Oregon is a 3-point dog. Guys, who do we like?
I'm just going to take Oregon to win this game. Washington honestly hasn't impressed me too much all season. And I feel like the kind of overrated people just like the Chris Patterson and Jake Browning combination a lot. And Oregon has looked good in some games. They should have beat Stanford. They blew that one game out. They blew that game. But I think they pulled this one out.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Leighton. I'm going with Oregon. This is, again, another little gut check. But like Leighton said, I haven't been impressed with Washington, and Oregon has the best player on the field when they suit up. So I'm going to go with Oregon. I think it's going to go kind of similar to that Stanford game, but Oregon's going to pull this one out.
Yeah, I could definitely see a route that Oregon wins this. I do think that Jake Herbert is the best player on the field. But I'm going to go with Washington. At the beginning of the year, this was my team that I thought would win the college football playoff, and I thought that they would do it with defense. And the team has been all that was advertised from the defensive side of the ball. I know last week they were heading in, giving up like 11 points per game, which is just absolutely ridiculous. It's going to be really hard for Oregon to get that high-powered offense up and going. And plus, Washington's kind of dominated this team over the past 2 years, so I don't think that that's going to change. I think Jake Browning is going to end up picking up another win against Oregon, and they'll move on. And this is one of those statement wins, I think, that could help them win the rankings.
Well, this is definitely a different Oregon team, though, at least.
Oh, yeah, definitely a different Oregon team. I really like this team, though. I think Mario Cristobal is like the perfect guy for that job. He's done really well under there. So, B-Reich, your most overrated team, number 12, Michigan, at 15, Wisconsin. Winner will jump at least one spot. Wisconsin is a 6.5-point dog, so who do you like?
I'm picking Wisconsin. I talked about how early they're underranked. They haven't lost a game since 2001. And Michigan hasn't impressed me at all either. I honestly don't like Shea Patterson. That's his name, right? Shea Patterson?
Oh, yeah. You just don't like him because he was from Mizzou.
I don't like Shea Patterson because I think he sucks.
He's not that bad.
Anytime I've watched him do anything, he's never impressed me. Maybe I only watched the bad plays. Maybe I only watched
the screen pass for 60.
Yeah, maybe I only watched the bad plays of Shea, but anytime I watch him, he never looks good.
If you just watch the highlights, you're only going to see really, really good or really, really bad. I've watched Michigan twice this year, and I'll be honest, he didn't blow me off my rocker, but there were some plays that he made where I was like, okay, this guy's pretty good. And then there were some plays where he's like, you start to question yourself, and then right whenever you start to question yourself, you're like, okay, this guy's pretty freaking good. So I think that he's going to have too many of those actually like good moments where, you look at Wisconsin, typical grind it out. They just have to have, they're not about having the one big play and just things go right all at once. They're more of just, let's just hold consistency and grind it out. Where I think Michigan's going to have those one or two plays that's going to be the difference in the football game. I think Michigan's going to be way too athletic and way too fast. But I think this is going to be a really good game. I wouldn't take Michigan with the spread, with the points there. But I think Michigan will sneak this one out in a close one.
Well, I personally don't like either of these teams. I think they're both not good football programs, like good enough to be top 25, but not that great. In Wisconsin lost to a BYU team whose best attribute is their dance team, evidently, because I see them on top 25 a lot more than I see, their team on ESPN. So I'm going to go with Michigan, but this is going to be a snooze fest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game just because these teams are supposed to be highly ranked. I will say, though, BYU is very, very bad. They got ranked that one week. They're like, oh, well, we have to rank them because they beat Wisconsin. Like, they just automatically assume that Wisconsin's good, where we didn't have any idea what this team was. They were 2-1 at that point. They lost to Cal, so what do they do with Cal? We'll rank them too. I cannot believe that they just continually do this ugly cycle where they're just like, we assume this team's good. So I don't get that at all. Guys, what top 25 team is on upset alert this week?
I just gave you two, and with Washington, Michigan, I hit matchups for them. Both these teams haven't impressed me at all. And I think the team they're playing are honestly just better than they are at this point in the season, in Oregon and Wisconsin.
I'm actually just going to go with Colorado because I just figure USC will figure it out. Maybe they won't.
Yeah.
Sound logic.
It's USC versus Colorado. USC has to win.
That's my logic.
I'm actually going to go with West Virginia at Iowa State. Iowa State wins these weird games throughout the season, kind of like trap games, where you think that Iowa State's not that great. You go up to Ames, Iowa. You play them. You fall asleep because they slow the game down so much. And next thing you know, it's the fourth quarter and you're down 16-14. So I think Iowa State has the potential to pull this upset. And last week I gave you Mississippi State beating Auburn. This week I'm going to go ahead and say that Iowa State's going to beat West Virginia. And I've been on West Virginia all season. But Iowa State's going to sneak up and bite them. They did it to Baker Mayfield, so nobody is Iowa State proved. They do this stuff in basketball too. Have you guys noticed with Iowa State, every year,
out. Yeah.
Yes, they always have that big win just once or twice throughout the season, and I love it. I love it. So guys, give me a lock of the week. what college football game do you think is the lock of the week?
Wisconsin plus 6.5. I said Oregon would beat Washington. Not confident in that one. I am 100% confident Wisconsin will cover the 6.5 point spread against Michigan. They might not beat them, but they will not lose by 7.
Just because the game might be 3-6, Leighton, that doesn't count.
Covering the spread?
It is.
Lock of the week.
What was West Virginia's spread?
West Virginia is actually a 4.5 point favorite.
Oh, I'll take West Virginia then. That's my lock.
Your lock of the week? You just had to go with whatever I wasn't going
Exactly.
with. My lock of the week, I'm actually going to go Georgia and LSU over. I'm going to give you the over. LSU at home, their offense has scored 38 and 45 points. The over-under for the game total is 49, so I'm going to be hitting the over. I think that's actually going to be a pretty smart bet. So, guys, it's time to get to the B. Reich, the Hot Take Detective. This is our time where B. Reich tries to prove me wrong. In case you guys aren't familiar with mine and Brandon's relationship, I'm pretty sure the only reason why he watches sports is so he can prove me wrong. So, B. Reich, first take is UCF is going to the big dance.
Okay, I am going to start off by saying last year was a tragedy they didn't get in there. But again, I just don't see a plausible route. Yes, they're getting more respect. They're in the top 10. But the other two opponents that they're going to play, they're going to be ranked as Cincinnati and Southern Florida. Neither one of those teams have played a team that's very good. I don't think they're both going to be ranked at, by the time that it comes to the end of the season and we're trying to decide this playoff seeding. I definitely think the SEC is at least getting one in. You have the Big Ten, you have Ohio State or Penn State, getting in, and then you have the Pac-12, Big 12. I mean, I just see so many ways that they're still going to slide a one-loss team above UCF. And I truly, to this day, I don't think, unless there is only if the fourth best team that's a Power 5 is a 2-loss team, that's the only way I see UCF getting in.
Okay, so the way that we have it now, Oregon, if Oregon beats Washington, there's them moving up in the rankings. And then West Virginia or Texas is going to fall below because they ultimately have to play. And then, Alabama and Georgia, they both can make it in. I won't have any bones about that. But then, Clemson drops a game. Notre Dame drops a game. If Notre Dame drops a game, they're done. They are toast because they don't have
They are done, but
anything
you
to
have
lean
Notre
on.
Dame. But even a one-loss Clemson team, if they lose against a good opponent, they win their conference championship game, I could see them still getting in. It sucks. I just don't think they have a viable option to get in. They have to strengthen their schedule, which, I mean, it's not their fault. They already had the schedule pretty much set in stone before they got this freaking good. But it's unfortunate, I think, but I just don't see a way. I mean, you still have a Big Ten team's definitely getting in.
Right.
Ohio State's getting in.
So you think I'm wrong?
I think you're wrong. I'm not saying they're not good enough, but they're not getting in.
All right. So I'll take that one. So my second take, Willie Taggart will be out of Florida State before the end of next football season.
I'm going to start off by saying he's really bad. I think he really is. But they did only go 7-6 last year. I think Francois is just not a good quarterback. I think he fooled us his freshman season. I really think he did somehow. But yeah, I think the ice is thin, but I think they'll at least give him a second year because, it's hard to just have that much overturned. But really, I feel like most of us could coach a team better than 7-6 with all the recruiting classes. They haven't had a recruiting class worse than top 11 in 6 years. So I don't know why they're struggling, but I think he'll at least get one more season. But he's bad.
Dude, could you imagine getting top 10 recruits every single year and still losing football games? That's just crazy to me.
It's pretty hard to do. To have a 7-6 style team and you still have all these top level talent.
Yeah, I think that he's a very bad coach, and I do think that he will be done. Maybe not this year, but next. We'll go with by the end of next football season. Yes or no? Is he gone?
The end of next one, yes.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to turn the team around.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think that no matter where he's at, the longer he stays there, he's going to get worse because his recruiting classes will get worse because his teams will be playing worse than the guy before him. It's just an ugly cycle with that guy. So take number 3. Notre Dame with Ian Book at quarterback is not the Notre Dame we've seen in the last 7 years with Brian Kelly at the helm. And I, along with the whole nation, should be placing them on the throne as contenders to win the college football national championship.
Oh, absolutely. That game against Stanford solidified it for me. And honestly, looking at their schedule, I don't see an opponent that's going to beat them, especially how well Ian Brooks is playing and that Notre Dame team is rolling. I think they're going to make the playoffs, at least be a really high contender for it.
Yeah,
You're definitely right on that one.
Yeah, I think that, dude, they're good. And I never said that about the team that made it to play Bama in the championship. So I just want to say I'm on the right side of history of that. And whenever I said Jake Herbert was really good, I never said the same thing about Marcus Mariota. So Ian Book is the man, the absolute man. Leighton Seed, what do you want?
I actually have one thing to say about the UCF take.
Okay.
To add to the point why they would not make it. Texas just beat Oklahoma. Texas lost to Maryland. Texas is now ranked ahead of UCF.
That is unbelievable to me, dude.
UCF just is never going to get the respect because they're not going to play teams like that or have the stature of Texas. Texas isn't that good of a team, but it's still Texas University of Austin, and it still has a national appeal, and they're going to put that ahead of UCF every time.
Well, on top of that, UCF does not have a win like beating Oklahoma.
No.
They just don't. And they're not going to have it. Like, it's just their schedule does not allow for them to get the respect, like Clayton was saying.
But, you know, in on the other side of the coin, like, their schedule does give them the opportunity to have losses against teams like Maryland, and they're not going to do that either. So I don't see how they can come back and just say that that's okay. Like, hey, yeah, we'll just go ahead and sneak this team in there. Like, if UCF, I'm not kidding, if UCF played Maryland, they beat them by 30 points. They beat them by 30 points.
Well, I think if Texas replays Maryland, they're going to beat them.
Well, yeah, they'll beat them, but I don't think they'll beat them as bad. Like, if UCF played Texas, give me UCF in that game. I think that they're better. I think that they're better than a lot of these teams that are ranked. And now, don't get me wrong, I think that, you know, they're not the best team in the country or anything like that. But if you keep winning, you have to go up. You have to go up. It'll be terrible if this team drops 1 week in the rankings if they continue to win. But Leighton, that's a very good point. You know, a team that lost to Maryland even leapfrogged them, and 10 other teams. So we'll do a little MLB talk, guys. We'll talk about. So there's been 2 teams that have already clinched. I believe the Dodgers are playing right now. Any update on the Dodgers game?
Last I checked, the Dodgers were up 5-2. I'll get a
6-2 now.
6-2 now. Yep. So looking like they're going to go ahead and sweep, or not sweep, but advance to the NLCS over the Braves.
Okay, so we'll go ahead. You guys ready to can we just go ahead and we're done with the Braves?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Toast.
I don't
Braves
want to
are
talk
done.
Braves.
Yep, Braves are done. All right, guys. Brewers, they win 11th straight game, sweep the Rockies in 3. Are you guys ready to hand them the crown for the NL?
Honestly, yeah, I am.
Me too.
Up to this point, I thought the Dodgers were going to win the National League. But seeing how the Brewers have played, they're actually on fire right now. Everybody's hitting. The pitchers are throwing great. It's tough to see a team, honestly, in either league, not get them off right now with the way they're playing. I think this is just how teams who win the World Series or make the World Series look after this point.
Oh, you're definitely right on the way they've looked. I mean, they look like a World Series team, and that's I couldn't say that a month ago. I honestly couldn't, but this team looks every bit. We were actually kind of criticizing their moves, but I think they're much smarter than we are, I guess. They knew what they were doing. They knew they were going to get hot right now. I still give the Dodgers a slight advantage. I just think they're a little bit more talented, but hell, I would not be surprised if the Brewers get in there, and I'm really looking forward to that series between the Dodgers and the Brewers because I think it's going to go maybe 5 games, 6, maybe 6.
For the first time since we've been doing this podcast, I believe in the Brewers. I think the Brewers are a good baseball team. This is the first time I've ever said that, so don't prove me wrong. Maybe I need to stay against them. But here's just what I picture, okay? I picture them sending Clayton Kershaw out to the mound and Christian Yelich just having a field day, and those boys just run around the bases, and then it goes straight from the narrative that, hey guys, Clayton Kershaw is a really good pitcher, to everybody just talking about how he doesn't have the clutch gene and talking about this unfair, just this unfair record against, and how bad he is in the postseason, which all he really did was just play a team when they were really freaking hot. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think that the Brewers are going to win this one in 5 or 6. I don't think this one's going to go 7. And it's not going to really surprise me if the Brewers go ahead and just sweep them. I don't know why, but I think this team's just so hot. 11 straight wins, and they've needed every single one of them. So back's been against the wall the whole time, and they've been killing it.
Yeah, but
to give the Dodgers some credit, they have been pitching well in their own right and batting well. I mean, Ryu came out of nowhere. I forgot he existed for a while, and he pitched a shutout the first game against the Braves.
Killed it.
He killed it. You always have Kershaw, Yelich, Hill, and then Manny Machado's hit 3 home runs, I'm pretty sure, in 2 days. So he's trying to catch up to Yelich and the boys. So I don't think it'll be a sweep, but the Brewers are definitely trending even a little bit more up than the Dodgers are, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, the Dodgers definitely probably have more talent overall. Definitely have better pitching. But with the way the Brewers are playing right now, it's hard for me to see them losing a series to anybody. Like, they just look like they're locked in. They won 11 straight games. Obviously, they're locked in.
Yeah, this is the definition of locked in. Like if you Google locked in, you'll get a picture of Christian Yelich and the boys, and then like below that you'll get like the Indians from last year whenever they went on their ridiculous 21-game win streak.
If they did go on a 19-game winning streak, to win the division and win the World Series, that might be like the best achievement in the history of sports.
That would be the greatest. That'd be the greatest run. The greatest run in sports history, hands down.
Like, in 18 games, win the division, win the World Series. It's clutch.
They made the Cubs go from the best team in the NL to out 2 days later.
Yeah, they're good.
That's a story in and of itself.
Can I get fast, be like?
Yeah, life does come at you fast. So, guys, the Astros finally just put the final nail in the coffin to the Indians. Sweep them 3-0. Do you guys think this is your World Series repeating team? I mean, we haven't had one in a little bit of time. Do you think that they could be that team that goes back to back?
Well, just kind of how the Brewers are looking, the Astros are looking so good. They really are. I know the Indians, I'm going to say that they definitely fell on their face a little bit. That pitching did not show up, but this Astro team I kind of had my doubts all season. They're looking a lot better. I'm still giving the Red Sox the edge if they can pull out the series. But if the Yankees win this series, I know this sounds funny, but I think if the Yankees win, Astros will be in the World Series for sure. I'm still going to give the Red Sox because I think they have the talent and the bats to match up with Stros.
Yeah, the Astros, like you said, look like the Brewers look really hot right now. But the Indians, they only won 90 games. They won one more game than Tampa Bay Rays won. So, I don't know. And
I think we overrated them all season.
The Indians?
Yes.
Or did we just underrate the Rays?
No, because you look
the
at
Rays were an anomaly. I don't know what the Rays were doing. They sold and won.
The Rays had to play the Yankees and the Red Sox 19 games apiece, whereas the Indians were forced to play the Red Sox, the Tigers, the Royals. I mean, you look at their that's the gauntlet of teams. We'll throw the Twins in there at you 19 times. We'll see if you survive.
Yeah, but no, I think whoever comes out on the other side, whether the Yankees or the Red Sox, that team will go to the World Series. Either one.
Yeah. I think nobody beats the Red Sox. And the Astros aren't going to beat the Red Sox. And I'm just going to give you a little preview right now because we're going to talk about the Red Sox and Yankees. They're tied 1-1, but I think the Red Sox are going to win. The Red Sox are the best team in baseball. They've been the best team in baseball from the beginning. They're now, after they've played 164 games, they're still the best team in baseball. I'm not coming off of it. I don't care how bad David Price is whenever he starts in the game. They are still better than all the other teams. Latency, what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, like you just said, So I've been a long-time Red Sox fan, and Red Sox hat to work. Today, I had 2 people tell me, sorry for your loss. I was just like, we lost 1 game. We're tied 1-1 right now.
Are you
Like,
serious?
listen, yeah, 2 people told me today, man, I'm sorry about what happened this weekend. I was like, shit, we're tied 1-1.
That's how good
What
your team is.
happened?
That's how good that team is.
Like, it's not like I thought we were going to sweep the Yankees, and the Yankees won 100 games. Like, they're a really good
Yep.
team. Going to that game Saturday night, I knew it was going to happen. I knew we were going to win game 2. I decided before the game started, I just thought, man, I really hope Aaron Judge didn't hit a home run. And then, like, that, a home run, like, yep, this game's going to be over here before it even started. And then the 6th inning, they got 6-1.
So what do you guys do with?
Do what?
What do you guys do with David Price? You moving to the bullpen, obviously, right? I mean, can you guys do that? I don't know your rotation as well.
No,
as you do.
game 7 immediate. He's emergency starter for game 7s only.
Alex Corsa today, actually, he's going to be in the bullpen for the rest of this series. He'll start, if we get to the World Series, we will start him, obviously, 1 point in the series, but I don't like the chances. We're going with Nathan Eovaldi tonight. Don't like that move too much either. I don't like throwing a lefty against, the power of Bats and Judge and Voit and Giancarlo and Torres and Andujar. But, hey, let's go get it, man.
Let's go get it. That sounds like a man who's real confident.
I think I figured it out. You gotta bring back Joe Kelly to the starting lineup. I know he hasn't pitched as a starter in years,
Hey.
but it's Joe Kelly, the guy you need.
Joe Kelly
Just-
threw 2 1/3 scores the other night.
Just
I'm telling you.
straight switch. Just switch them.
Yes.
Joe Kelly and David Price, where you pitch David Price, Joe Kelly. And, dude, could you imagine Joe Kelly? Like, nobody would want to get a hit off of him, because, especially the Yankees, because they'd be scared that he'd roll him out in the dirt on the pitcher's mound and beat the shit out of him.
And if you
I
won't do
love
that, he'll still throw 100 mile per hour at your head. He doesn't care.
No,
I
he's
don't
not
agree with
scared.
that, but he doesn't care.
No, he's not care. I wonder, the other day he came to the game, I was like, man, right now he hits on Carlos Stanton. What's going to happen? Is he going to wave on to Carlos Stanton to come fight him?
Serious question, though. Out of bullpen pitchers, better goggles, Jesse Chavez or Joe Kelly?
Jesse Chavez, I think, only because I think they look way more ridiculous than Joe Kelly's do.
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Kelly-
Chavez look absolutely ridiculous.
They both look awful.
Dude, I feel like looking into Jesse Chavez's eyes from the batter's box, you would feel like you're like looking into a demon's eyes, like
Yeah.
with that tint of his glasses, because they're almost like sunglass tint,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of a bizarre like mirror tint, and I feel like they should be completely illegal for a pitcher to wear them, but he gets away with it because I think people think that he's too crazy to say anything to.
Yeah, see that, but as far as the series goes, 1-1, we got to win tonight because we're not going to win Game 4 in New York. That's not going to happen.
I think you can.
Fortunately, we'll be starting a former Cy Young winner in Rick Porcello on the mound. But I say former, a lot of emphasis on the former. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
but if you start Rick Porcello, you're gonna immediately get like 8 runs of support. So you
That is
shouldn't
how that
even be
works.
worried.
That is automatic. Automatic 8-run support. I don't know. I'm nervous.
Gut check, boys. Who's winning this series? Yankees or Red Sox?
Sox in 4.
Red Sox. I don't know when, but Red Sox.
Yeah, I'm going Sox in 4. Okay, gut check. Astros, Red Sox.
Red Sox.
Sox.
Yeah, me too.
Real
right,
baseball
guys.
team's going to beat the Astros.
Huh?
I think we're going to play a real baseball team for a second.
Yeah, no kidding. They won't have to play the 90-win Indians. Just 1 game better than the Rays. So, guys, we'll go ahead and get to the fun part of the show. And this is dart.
We're playing darts, baby.
So basically, guys, this is how darts works. Each one of us will throw a dart at the dartboard, and each number on the dartboard represents something. Leighton, what are we playing today?
Celebrity Deathmatch, and it'll be a playoff edition.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh.
Okay. That game gets me really excited, and I wish Jesse Chavez. Does Jesse Chavez qualify since he was in the wild card?
I can take somebody off and put him on the list.
Okay, do that real quick.
Okay.
Take your worst one on and put Jesse Chavez on there.
Yeah.
We know that Joe Kelly's going to win this thing, though. So, guys, the way that this will go, each one of us will throw 2 darts. We will talk about a fight, a hypothetical fight, of course. And if you guys have ever watched the Celebrity Deathmatch TV show that was back on MTV, it was awesome. So we will play the game. Latency, producer, your game, your rules, your throw.
We have an 11, which is Jose Altuve. And a 5, CC Sabathia.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Fair size matchup.
you might think CC Sabathia definitely has the advantage due to his size, but picture this being kind of a WWE event. And Sabathia, he's about 80, 90, 100 years old right now. And Jose Altuve is a quick little shit. I feel like Jose Altuve will probably lead the league in punches thrown per second, or kick thrown per second. Well, Sabathia is just, kind of like Derek Lewis, or kind of big MMA fighter for that one-punch knockout. I feel like Altuve will be able to loom enough and kind of duck around his big punches and just dot him up. And eventually, over time, Sabathia will cripple to the ground.
See, I'm actually going to go... I'm just going to look at the size advantage on this, and, obviously it is CC. CC gets hands down the size advantage, but I'm thinking about both of their past, okay? So CC came out, and he has been known to maybe have a little bit of a drinking problem. How many people do you know that have had a little bit of a drinking problem that haven't been in at least, a handful of fights? Like, I feel like those things go hand in hand. And, Jose Altuve probably got picked on a little bit whenever he was younger, being so small. But he was also probably the coolest kid around because he was so good at baseball. So he didn't have to deal with that as much, being a small guy. But CC, if you do a lot of drinking, you're going to be doing a lot of fighting as well. And CC has the size advantage, has the experience. I'm going CC Sabathia.
So these are 2 really formidable opponents. I mean, you have CC Sabathia, like you said, was an alcoholic. And let's give a shout-out to how much alcohol he had to consume to be drunk. He is like, 6'6", like a freaking Tank Mix Prince Fielder, look like a child. I mean, the guy is huge. He had to be drinking kegs. Okay, so that guy...
He was like Andre the Giant back whenever he'd drink like 64 beers a day in an airport.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. And, it takes a lot of grit and determination to be able to power through all those beers, and that liquors and all that. But Jose Altuve, he actually, when the Astros, I don't know if it was the Astros, but some MLB club had a tryout in Venezuela, he wasn't even allowed to try out. Because, number one, they didn't think he was old enough because he was so short. And number two, he was short. And they're like, they're not going to waste their time. So he kept on going there every single day, and he came back. So that, to me... Like you were saying, like he got picked on a lot. He kept on persevering. And as my father always says, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. But I still think I'm going to go with CC. I mean, I'm pretty sure he pitched games drunk. So he's got the hand-eye coordination, and he's huge. So I'm going to go with CC.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, result, CC Sabathia, 2-1. B-Rock, your throw.
We have a 12, George Springer. And a 17, Robert Acuna.
These are both kind of... These are guys that I just don't feel like could probably fight.
Well, so it's a good matchup then.
Really, the only thing George Springer can do is hit postseason home runs and make all-star games undeservedly.
Yep.
He tied the record tonight. He tied Daniel Murphy's record for home runs.
And he hit 2 tonight, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm with you. I wouldn't really pick either of these guys if my back was pushed against the wall and I really needed somebody. I mean, I really want to be looking to my right and thinking George Springer and Acuna is going to bring it home. But George Springer does have the experience on him. And what have I learned in my lifetime? Old man strength is a thing. George Springer isn't old, but old man strength is a thing, and that even comes with a few years. So I'm going to go with George Springer for that simple fact. But they're both little bitches, in my opinion. So I'm not too confident.
See, looking over a huge aspect of this.
George Springer went to the con.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's something to look at. But no, you're down Robert Acuna. What happened at the beginning of the season? Acuna was in AAA. People doubted him for some reason. So what has he done since then? In the Rookie of the Year. You don't think he can fight. So what's he going to do? Come on, knock somebody out in the first round, or first whatever we have for this fight. It's going to be Robert Acuna. In a landslide.
In a landslide.
Landslide victory.
So I'm looking at a little bit of tail of the tape here, and Robert Acuna, his nickname is El Abusador. That sounds like El Abuser, the abuser. So I'm gonna just go with that. Like, you earned that nickname somehow, El Abusador. Yeah. So if he's the abuser, I guess that George Springer would be the abusee, and Robert Acuna, I'm going with the first round knockout. He might be tougher than what I thought. I mean, his nickname's the abuser.
That's a tough name to have. That's a good one.
That's a great nickname. So what are the odds? 2-1.
I was
2-1 Acuna.
Robert Acuna. Okay. Now my throw.
We have a 16. Yasiel Puig.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. Yasiel Puig just won.
And a 4. Joe
Unless
Kelly.
it's Jesse Chavez.
Oh, Joe Kelly. Okay.
You were wrenching
All right.
it.
All right. Wow, this one's tough. Have you ever seen the traps on Yasiel Puig?
Have you ever seen the forearms of Yasiel Puig? Have you ever seen Yasiel Puig?
You ever seen that guy before?
Big
He's
dude.
a mammoth, dude.
Huge.
So just to tell you, George Springer is 6'3", 190. Yasiel Puig is 6'2", 238. Shit brick house.
He's a fucking...
Puig is 240?
Dude, he's a big shit house.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude. There's not an ounce of fat on that guy.
No, I don't think so.
Huge.
Dude, you know what I was going to say? Leighton, you know the son of God, Yoel Romero, the MMA fighter?
I heard him.
I was going to say that he reminds me of that, but that guy is 60 pounds smaller whenever he weighs in than Puig, so that's not even a comparison. I'm going with Yasiel Puig just because I've seen Yasiel Puig, and he's a tank, man. He's a tank.
Joe Kelly, when he fought Tyler Austin, he went on a podcast for another company, had an interview with him, and he said that when he gets in fights, he turns into a shark, his eyes go crossed, and he just blacks out. He claims he blacked out for the entire Tyler Austin fight. He said once Tyler after he raised him on, he started coming at him, he said his eyes went crossed, he became a shark with blood in the water, and doesn't remember any of it. Now that being said, Tyler Austin is not Yasiel Puig. I don't
Absolutely
care.
not.
You would rather remember fighting Yasiel Puig, but probably because you got knocked out too fast to remember it.
I have a serious question.
I have a serious answer.
Would you rather fight, okay, just because, like, you know, yeah, obviously you're going to pick the weaker one to fight, Yasiel Puig or Aaron Judge?
I feel like
I think this is easy.
I feel like Puig's meaner than Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I think that's easy. Like, Aaron Judge is 6'7", like 300 pounds. I think that's an easy pick, dude. Like, Puig is...
Puig's from Cuba. He came to USA on a freaking speedboat. You know he just beat ass in Cuba all the time. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
they gotta probably kill you.
Yeah, he's scary. He's very, very scary.
Yeah, Yasiel Puig with Joe Kelly.
The only thing that's going to Joe Kelly, just to add on to Lane's, because I didn't know that he blacked out during fights, and that always scares me. I would never get in a fight with either of these men, never in a million years. But Joe Kelly's in my opinion, pretty unattractive as a male. I've actually had many people say he's one of the ugliest people he's ever seen. And ugly people, I feel like, have to, stick up for themselves and fight. And Yasiel Puig's a little bit better looking guy.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I give the little advantage there. I think he's going to black out. He's going to go balls to the wall. And I actually just looked up the size comparison. Joe Kelly's 6'1", 178.
Oh, wow. Puig's got 70 pounds.
70 pounds on him. He
That's no
has 70
comparison.
pounds and 2 inches.
Oh, man. Yasiel Puig, like you guys have been talking about, Jesus Christ. I think he would win almost every almost every fight that we could think of a baseball player. I'm sure we could maybe think of one, but I think I'm taking Yasiel Puig no matter what. So I'm going to go with Yasiel.
There's only a few people that I'd give a prayer with. I'd say if Schwarber packed on the pounds again, like I saw the dude tackle like a future NFL quarterback, so like I feel confident with him there. But I at least putting up a fight. But other than that, I can't really think of any guys like right off the top of my head. Maybe if Randy Johnson was back in the game, because I've never met a dude that was 6'7" with a mullet that was not tough. So,
how many 6'7" mullet guys do you know? You got a whole list?
I've never met any, Brandon, so I've never met a weak one.
There you go.
Sound logic once again.
Thanks.
All right, so just to recap, we had voted El Abusador, Robert Acuna, to beat up George Springer or win our celebrity death match. We have picked Yasiel Puig as the heavyweight champion of the world, and we picked CC Sabathia and his bar fighting strategy to pick up the win against Jose Altuve. So, guys, 6-pack of games this week for Week 6. NFL season will start off hot and heavy. Thursday night football. Eagles at Giants. Who do we like?
I'm going with the Eagles, partly because I want some more drama out of OBJ.
I'm going to go Giants. I actually, for how bad this Giants team's play, they really have some weapons. And OBJ might just throw 2 touchdown passes this week and just take matters in his own hands. So I'm going to go OBJ. I'm going to go OBJ and the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Giants. Now, obviously, I think that the wide receiving core is going to get theirs. I mean, everybody's been getting theirs against this team. I think that they've given up like over 445 yards to Tyrod Taylor, Corey Davis, Thielen and Diggs. So, like, you're getting OBJ, Shepard, like the whole mass of wide receivers. I think the Giants are going to win this one, but I think this is going to be the game where everybody realizes how good Saquon Barkley is, because the only game that we saw him in where it was like a primetime game was the Cowboys game, and all they did was pass him the ball over and over and over, and nobody really got the feel of how good he is. I think this is the game where everybody's kind of just like their jaw drops and says that Saquon's like top 3 running back in the NFL, which he is. So, second game, division leaders, Panthers at Redskins. Who do we like?
Go with the Panthers.
I'm going to go with the Panthers as well. They're playing a little bit better now, so.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Panthers. I don't know if I'm buying into the Redskins. I guess I'll find out in about 3 hours whether or not I really think the Redskins are good.
Are you really buying into the Panthers, though?
I think the Panthers
think
are who they are. I think they're like a 9-7 They're like the ultimate Jeff Fisher team. Like, they're not a full team. They're like 9-7, maybe 10-6 if you squeeze the juice for all it's worth. But yeah, I think they're okay.
I know that they are, actually. They are a good Buffalo Bills team.
Yeah, that's what they are. They are a good...
They're just grinders. They grind it out.
They just grind.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But I think they're good enough to beat the Redskins. I don't think the Redskins are as good as advertised so far. So, guys, this may be the most important game of the week, just far as, standings at the end of the season. Steelers at the Bengals. We know Steelers are struggling, 2-1. Bengals are 4-1. Where are we going?
Go with the Bengals. Steelers have to push that panic button real hard.
Oh. Drake is very shocked. I know nobody listening can see this, but his eyes just lit up crazily. I'm going to go with the Steelers because I think they're turning in the right direction. They've actually impressed me in the last 2 weeks. I'm going to go Steelers.
Yeah, dude, I can't believe that, because I thought Leighton was going to be all aboard the Big Ben train. He's usually one of those like hardcore Big Ben truthers. So I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think it's going to be closer than expected. I don't think that the Steelers are. I don't think the Steelers are good, but I don't think they're as bad as they've been the first 5 weeks. And I don't think that the Bengals are bad, but I don't think they're as good as what they've been the past few weeks. So I think I'm going to go with the Steelers, but I think it's going to be a very, very close game. Bears at Dolphins, couple surprise teams that are north of 500. Where are we going here?
I'm gonna go with the Bears actually. And
Damn right you are.
fun fact about this game: the Dolphins were 3-0 2 weeks ago. The Bears opened as 2-point favorites in this game.
They
Fun
should.
fact.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see that spread move up to 20.
I would be shocked actually at 20 points.
Lord, I don't think Dolphins are good. I think the Bears are very legitimate wild card team, so I'm definitely going with the Bears. I don't like the Dolphins at all.
Oh, Brandon, wild card. We're kings of the North. We're 3-1, top of the division. No, but I think we're good enough to beat the Dolphins. I do. I think the Bears. A week and a half ago, I said that the Bears could not sustain winning games the way that they were. Then we go out there and we score, 6 touchdowns through the air. So I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think what the defense had done the first few weeks prior to that is sustainable. I don't really know what the Bears are. I think I have them somewhat figured out. But I think this will be another week for me to kind of feel them out and see what they are for sure. But I think they're better than the Dolphins. The Dolphins in the second half of last week, they were terrible. I honestly think that the Bears, though, will be your number one fantasy defense for this week.
Are you ready to give up on Ryan Tannehill?
No, not yet.
Okay.
He started off 3-0. Jags at Cowboys. I was kind of unsure of what game to throw on there. Vegas thought this was a close spread. So, guys, you tell me what you think.
How are the Cowboys going to score?
That's a very good question.
Well, they don't run it. They don't run it on 4th and 1s in the clutch. So
I'm
they're definitely not
seriously,
running it out that way.
They already can't throw against freaking any team. Like Jaguars.
Yes, I mean Zeke's gonna have to have a game where one of those games where he catches balls out of the backfield, and he's gonna have to. It's gonna be the Zeke show, and it's whether they can get him going, but it's gonna be the Jaguars. Like Layton said, the Cowboys can't score, and they definitely can't score against the Jags.
No, the Cowboys are a bad football team. The Jaguars are like a ridiculously good defense. You know what I love about the Cowboys is that they're just suckers. Like, they don't get it. You put Tavon Aston out there for 4 plays a game, and you say, light the spark for our team. He might be your best wide receiver. And you throw Michael Gallup out there to run a go route occasionally, and he actually catches the ball. He'll catch a post route, and they'll put him back on the bench for 20 plays and keep Alan Hearns out there, who's been completely ineffective because he's just a decent route runner. And Cole Beasley is their number one wide receiver. Tell me a team. Name one team that would be good with Cole Beasley as their number one wide receiver. I'll wait. The Jaguars are the best defense ever, and they wouldn't be good if he was their best wide receiver.
Last night in the first quarter, did you notice how they came out 2 or 3 times in 3 tight end sets?
Yes.
How many times
I didn't know
this
they had 3
season?
tight ends.
How many times this season have you seen a team go with 3 tight end set, not named the Cowboys?
The only other time was Josh Rosen's first start. That I saw it twice. And I saw it twice.
Okay, so we're not going to. So Dak Prescott equals Josh Rosen.
First start. No, Dak Prescott in what is this 3rd or 4th year equals a rookie quarterback starting his first game.
That is what it is.
Equals.
I feel like that's how they try to protect him. They're just like, okay, so we're going to throw that out the window, put your best players out there. I feel like their wide receiving core every single time. Cole Beasley in the slot, Tavon Austin, Michael Gallup out wide. Let's make something happen. I mean, you cannot run the ball with Zeke 20 times a game and throw just short out routes the whole game and win. I mean, that's just crazy. And to even put on the Cole Beasley thing, Cole Beasley running a 5-yard out route every single time, and they expect him to break it off for a big run. Who do you expect more to break off a big run, Cole Beasley or Tavon Austin? So, instead of throwing your screen passes to Cole Beasley, you have a guy who was drafted as an offensive weapon who another team paid huge that you traded for. The Cowboys just drive me crazy. They're running that team into the dirt. So, guys, probably game of the week. I know I'll be dialed in. Everybody else should be. If you don't watch a football game all season, this is one you should watch. The Chiefs head to New England to take on the Patriots. Can Bill Belichick be the man to give Patrick Mahomes his first loss?
No. Chiefs can win this game.
I'm going to differ with you. I'm going to say yes, it will happen. New England wins the game.
If Bill Belichick can't do it, nobody's going to do it. Give me the Patriots. I think they're going to pull this off.
Unless Sean McVay could.
Yeah, unless Sean McVay gets the chance at him, then he'll just light him up. So I was looking at some of the games. I noticed that the 49ers were playing this week. So then I went to the 49ers schedule, and I was looking forward to see who the 49ers play over the next few weeks because they have C.J. Beathard at quarterback. You want to hear their schedule over the next few weeks?
They're all primetime, aren't they?
They play Monday night this week, Sunday night next week, Thursday night 2 weeks after that, Monday the next week, and then back on Sunday Night Football after that.
They were really hoping Jimmy G was he was cracked up. Now they got C.J. Beathard. Which C.J. Beathard's tough, but for primetime games, you just don't want to see a guy out there getting his shit knocked out and just playing it in there.
I know, dude. C.J. Beathard's fighting tooth and nail to get 10 yards, and everybody's just gonna be like, oh, we're not watching this game because the 49ers suck, but this guy's leaving it all on the field for you. Kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Injuries happen. Those primetime games have been much better with Jimmy G, but instead we get to see a true grinder. You know what really bums me out is that if they would have won any of these games last year with Gruden up there in the booth, Beathard would have been a Gruden grinder at least once this season. He'd be guaranteed. You can't lose every single primetime game. It's impossible unless you're Matthew Stafford. But I think that would be the best thing ever, seeing C.J. Beathard getting a Gruden grinder. So guys, it's time for Pip to tell us a little bit about a movie that he went and saw this past week. So guys, get ready for Pip's Entertainment Review.
1 2 1 2 Pip's Entertainment Review. Sit on down for a movie to view.
So this week I saw Venom, aka.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I don't know about you guys, but I was never big into comics growing up. So for the longest time, actually up until Spider-Man 3 came out, I thought that Venom was just a different version of Spider-Man. Same powers, same everything, but just a villain had the powers. Turns out
mistake.
And then I watched Spider-Man 3, and I found I was very wrong about what Venom actually is.
I thought Venom was whenever Spider-Man took a job at a tire company and fell into the tar. I read that in a comic.
I really can't tell if Drake's being serious half the time or not.
I really can't tell either. So, I mean, I learned just to go with it. I'm kind of numb to it at this point. I mean, hell, we're 64 weeks into this thing.
Was that not true? Was that not true?
No.
Okay.
So, basically, from outer space or from somewhere, the thing called symbiotes or symbiotes, where they're actually pronounced as, crashed on Earth, and they came to a lab and tested. And some escape, and some attached to Eddie Brock, who's played by Tom Hardy, who was also Bane in Dark Knight Rises and played Mad Max and a lot of other good roles he had.
Isn't he like a dwarf?
I think he is short. Not midget, but I think he's 5'10", 5'11", but he's huge.
Oh.
He's like Yachio Puig.
No, Puig's 6'2". Puig's in the 6 Foot Club.
Okay, well, he's a 5'11" Yachio Puig, just an absolute big shit house.
Okay.
But, so symbiote, they get on you, it's kind of like a virus, especially your body, it kind of takes over. And you have two options. You work with the symbiote, or the symbiote just destroys you. And Eddie Brock, fortunately for all this movie goers, decided to work with them, and it became Venom. And basically, it's an anti-hero. It's not a good guy, but he still fights for what's good. That makes any sense to you at all. It's kind of hard to explain what an anti-hero is. Just go Google anti-hero. This movie better what I just gave you. But
I've actually had a beer by Revolution Brewing Company that's called Anti-Hero.
Well, I bet that beer hero could get you drunk, but anti can make you do bad things when you're drunk.
So it's like a bad guy, but he's doing some good things. But he's not a good person.
Yeah, kind of like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get what you're talking about. Yeah, Deadpool's cool, though.
Yeah. And this movie is very cool. And matter of fact, cool is all this movie really has going for it. Because the movie isn't that great. It seems like they had this idea, okay, should we make a lot of money right now? Let's just make one out of Venom who people have never really seen in live action since Spider-Man 3. And just, put some cool trailers, give it to the movie, and people will be so enthralled in seeing Venom do all these awesome things that they'll pay money to go see it. And it was cool to watch, but the movie overall wasn't very good. It had poor structure, poor writing, not the best acting, but it's cool enough that it carries it. I'm going to give the movie 1.8 dips. So not terrible, not great. But I'm really interested to see where this movie goes, because this is another rated R Marvel movie. And there's a movie called Inhumans coming out, I think early next year, which is like a rated R movie based in the X-Men universe. And what other movie is rated R and based in the X-Men universe? Deadpool. So, there have been no theories or clues to what's going to be in Venom 2. Deadpool 3 has very little, and Inhumans isn't going to come out yet. So if all three of these movies can somehow intertwine, I think that'd be really cool, and cool way they could go. And honestly, Venom needs to join Deadpool if it wants to succeed, I think. Okay, I can't see Venom surviving by itself.
Yeah, we love when all those people get together. We love that.
Yeah. The dynamic of Venom and Deadpool, it would be really hard to work out, but people get paid to work that kind of thing out, and the money that would make would be worth them at least trying it.
I have one logical question.
Let's hear it.
So this is a virus, right? So why does it only affect Spider-Man, or does it affect other people?
It affects everybody.
So there's a lot of little Venoms running around, or?
It's a symbiote. It's like kind of like it's like an ooze, but the ooze is alive, and like part of the ooze can leave the rest of the ooze. Like imagine you have a glass of water, okay? But each part of the water has its own like thought process and consciousness, and can decide to leave or attach to you or me or whoever, and just stick to that person. Like it's looking for a host essentially.
That's odd.
Being two people who are in the nursing field, you guys should understand. Like it's like a virus. It just wants to attach to somebody and spread throughout their system, or become a host, parasite, whatever you want to call it.
But I thought it was just like a cover. Like the black tar is just like a cover.
Oh, it's a virus. It takes over your cells and everything. It's a virus.
It's a virus. It has powers. It's just some cool shit.
Huh.
My antibodies would fight it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So 1.8
dips. It
dips.
could be too tough for this.
Yeah.
1.8 dips. Not great. Not terrible. Cool. Cool enough to go see.
All right.
Okay. So guys, any bold predictions before we wrap this thing up?
At this time next week, Jason Garrett is no longer the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
That is so bold.
That is very bold, but I love it.
This is more of a wish than a bold prediction, because I don't think it's going to come true. But Adrian Peterson outperforms Kamara by 10 fantasy points, because I need that to win my game this week.
All right. Well, good luck with that. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's very bold. My bold prediction, I think Coach O and the boys are going to give Georgia their first regular season loss in the last 2 seasons. And Red Sox win the game. Red Sox are going to short game the Yankees tonight.
All right, well, let's hope so.
Anything else, boys?
Humbly Hoops Hysteria, for everybody listening, everybody who likes the NBA and basketball in general, comes back this Wednesday. This year will be on more NBA than college, but so much for college basketball in there. So this Wednesday, be sure to get ready for that.
All right. And on that note, for Drake, for Leighton, for B-Rod, Dippers, as always, stay saucy.